Get up and wake up and be conscious of what is creeping into your mind. What's getting in there? What are you letting in there? What is forcing itself in there? And what does it want you to do?
Forget about what you're trying to achieve for a moment and pay attention to how you perform. Your achievements in life rest almost exclusively on your performance. Sure, there's the strategy and planning, whether you're doing the right thing and so on, but most of us over-strategize and overthink, leading to frequent changes in our path, changing careers that merely slows our progress and can, over time, grind it to a complete halt. Where most of us fail in an area of life that we have complete control over is our performance. The richest, most successful men on the planet and in history are the highest performers. High performance isn't reserved for the talented. It's not a product of divine design, but rather a series of decisions each of us make in the run of a day. John D Rockefeller, for example, started with nothing. He had all of the odds stacked against him, yet through persistence, discipline, and diligence, i.e. performance, became the richest man in the world. Steve Nash, a relatively unspectacular kid from British Columbia, Canada, made millions playing basketball, winning the MVP award twice. We could go on forever. It doesn't matter the starting point. Men who outperform everyone else end up with an uneven piece of the pie. High performance, you could say, is a winner-takes-all game. It's rooted in discipline, in boring, consistent effort that compounds over time to produce outlandish results. The sooner you start, the better. But starting now is the best option you have. So if you want to win in business, in life, in adventure, or simply become the best version of yourself that you can possibly become, follow these habits. Again, being a truly elite performer is an overarching decision, but also a series of micro decisions that you make in the run of a day. The commonality of both is that it's your choice. You can perform greatly or you can be mediocre. Both are decisions. All right, so habit number one, and this is the most important habit on the list, deep work. This is the most important habit of high-performing individuals by far. Distractions have always existed, though they're more prevalent now. Most people say they work 8 or 12 hours or even 16 hours in a day, but how much of that is actually work? Maybe a few hours. And what's the point? It takes the same amount of time to sit down and work in a focused, undistracted manner as it does to sit down and scroll through your phone every 30 minutes. Cal Newport's book, Deep Work, lays this out perfectly. And you look at how the most successful people work or train, and it's completely distraction-free. They're in the zone or in the flow state, as Mihaly, can't pronounce his last name, puts it in his book, Flow. Nothing exists but the task at hand. And if you think about it, nothing is as important as the thing you're doing right now. This means a few things. 1, distractions are eliminated. Throw your phone in another room, shut off the internet as you write, focus only on what you're doing. 2, the importance of the task is prominent in their minds. There's no should I do this or what about this or whatever. It's just the task. When you decide to do something, do it and only that. Don't start and then hop on to another thing that catches your eye. Success is a series of tasks completed. No matter how you look at it, that's it. If you slow the completion of your tasks in any way, you slowed your success. So do as the high performers do. Be elite by getting in the flow state and by doing deep, distraction-free work. Don't dabble, do. Habit number 2, long-term focus guided by an overarching mission. I was having a conversation with a buddy of mine who's a high-performing individual and who spends a lot of time around elite performers, billionaires, and so forth. Focus was a commonality among all of them. Not just short-term focus, but long-term focus. They're not chasing every new idea that comes across their eyes. There's nothing wrong with the new, exciting ideas, but you can spend your life chasing every new idea and never bring anything to fruition. The great performers, the elite winners, have big goals, then they release them and just work. They think long-term and not short-term. They're not after immediate gratification, but long-term success and even greatness. Habit number 3 is boring consistency. In the same conversation, we talked about how boring greatness is. There's the idea that this greatness is all thrill and excitement. You look at Theodore Roosevelt's life, for example, and you see him exploring, being a rancher, a cowboy, the president of the US of A, and you think, what a thrill. And sure, his life was thrilling and great, but also difficult. And difficult in a way that he brought on difficulties when he could have had ease, having been born into wealth and status. Every other success story, it seems, from Napoleon to Rockefeller to Carnegie, is filled with boring study, reading, learning, incredible amounts of work to build knowledge and create things. Their lives are filled with the tasks we tend to opt out of in lieu of something more exciting, like a TV show. Stop chasing dopamine hits and do the work. Habit number 4 is early to rise. To more tangible stuff. Elite performers seem to rise earlier, though this isn't a constant. It depends when you do your work the best and when you can get the most alone time. Many rise early because they start their day at a time when no one else is distracting them. There are no phone calls coming at 4 a.m. in the morning, for example. There's no wife wanting to talk to you or the kids wanting to play with you. No one expects an email response at 4 in the morning. However, they don't expect it at 11 p.m. either. Find your optimal focus time. If you don't wake up early and don't stay up late, choose one or the other. Habit number 5 is health. There's this idea that you have to hurt other areas of your life to succeed in another. Rockefeller comes up again. He'd take long walks. He'd relax, rest, and recharge. The healthier you are, the more energy you'll have. The better your life is going to be, and the better your work will be as well. An hour a day is all it takes, and it improves the other hours of your day at the same time. Elite performance extends to every area of your life. Build your best body, build the biggest business you can build, learn as much as you can learn. Life is a summitless mountain. Your progress never ends. Improve all areas of your life to improve every area of your life. Train daily. Habit number 6 is thinking time. I'm not a big Bill Gates fan by any means, but he's done well for himself, keyword himself. His thinking weeks are a great idea. We get bogged down in work, in the doing of things. We need thinking days to think about what we want long term, what we want to do long term, and how to structure that in our short term actions. This can be applied to daily life or a year. Spend a week like Gates, thinking, reading, learning, and studying, or spend an hour or so every day to think about important things in life. Ray Lewis, the Hall of Fame linebacker, used cigars to achieve this. Cigars aren't the healthiest thing around, but they're not as bad as many people make them out to be. Lewis sees a cigar almost like forced meditation. Every man needs time in a day alone to sit and think about his life. Some of us use golf to achieve this. Others use journaling. If you're doing deep work without distractions, you will have time in the day to set aside an hour or even 30 minutes to think. I highly recommend adding this at the end of your workday or training day. How do we know if we're living well if we don't review our life? Finally, the game of life. Life is a game filled with smaller games. You get to choose if you want to play the game of life or to avoid it altogether. And you get to choose which games you play within life. If you want to play the success game, the wealth game, and the health game, and the wellness game, the family game, whatever, play to win. Don't just opt into these games and exist in them. Win them. To win them, think about what winning looks like to you. Come up with numbers and achievements so that when you win the game, you can be free of it. Figure out what victory looks like long term, and then what way of living will get you that victory. The habits mentioned previously will surely help you win whatever games you choose to play in life, especially that first habit, deep work. Don't allow distractions to claim your potential. Get after it.